welcome to another installment of the Fragments Silicon Reviews. 4 reviews up this week. The first of which is a game called Hue. Um, and in case you're not looking at the video screen right now, that's Hue is in color hue.
I'm just wondering where all the cry is.
I don't get that.
Hue and cry?
It's
a saying.
Like, not ringing a bell. Anyway, so Hue is a indie puzzle platformer, and it's very indie puzzle platformer, like almost stereotypically so. Now, its default aesthetic is a very grayscale world. Your character is not necessarily in shadow, but he's
monochrome.
He's colored black,
or silhouette.
Yeah, silhouetted. Though the art style has a lot more of a, there's a lot more going on here because, very quickly you will be able to get the ability to change the color scale. And worth noting that the color wheel here, for once, isn't completely based off of the colors of the rainbow. Because there aren't a lot of rainbows that have pink in it. Yeah, it's a... plus, there are, like, if I'm remembering correctly, like 8 colors. So, yeah, it's a...
It has blue, light blue separation.
Yes. Granted, I think that used to be blue indigo, but indigo isn't really recognized as its own distinct color these days.
Like, yeah, and it's not really indigo blue, and the purple is closer to like a...
Yeah.
It's much brighter than normal purple, so...
Yeah, once again...
the point is that they're bright colors to contrast the silhouette, playable character, and immutable background stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that does factor into gameplay. It's not just an aesthetical choice, because a lot, most of the puzzle solving is because objects that are colored that particular hue disappear when you select that.
And they blend into the background.
Yes. It's not just that they blend into the background, they literally disappear into the color.
That's what like blend in the sense that they just melt into the background.
Right, but I do need to emphasize this because, when you select that color, that object literally disappears. You can go through that space. And yeah, that is a big factor in figuring out the puzzles. And also, figuring out, like, there are boxes hung by balloons. There are walls you have to shift through, and, multicolored affair. It can get a bit actiony, surprisingly. When you select your color, time slows down. Doesn't stop, but it slows down enough because, like, there are times where you have to go through a lot of crushing skull blocks, and you have to make sure you're pinpoint on your colors, right? And yeah, that's about it in terms of core gameplay. The gimmick here does also play into the storyline. Like, you actually literally live in a color scale world. And your character has to find her girlfriend, who, as it turns out, was engaged in a lot of morally dubious color experiments. Not making that up. And she experimented with color. She experimented on herself with color, and she ended up disappearing. Once again, that's literally the gimmick of this game in terms of its puzzle solving. So, and your quest is to, save her from the colored realm, as it were. or it's like get her to some sort of corporeal state, like, and let me see here. Yeah, in terms of music, a lot of light piano, a lot of minor keys. Not always. Like as you get more into the game, things get heavier, more discordant, um, louder, like emphasizing the shifting moods and all that. Um, and yeah, you know, as far as it's as far as Hue goes as a game, it's perfectly satisfactory. Um, it I've played not this exact game, but I've seen, I have tackled this kind of game before.
It kind of
Uh,
reminds me of Runbow, even though I know that's significantly different in practice.
yeah, I mean, it's got the gimmick of Runbow, but it's got like the design of Limbo, or like the other aesthetics of Limbo, and the block pushing of so many indie titles. Like seriously, I'm not exactly sure what it is with indie platformers and their love of block puzzles, but it's definitely a thing. Now, my point is like this isn't you know this isn't going to radically redefine what an indie platformer is. Um, like maybe if we're done 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but it's solid enough in its core mechanics. It's definitely inventive in its overall puzzle design. It's not just all block pushing. It's sometimes figuring out how to get through lasers and combining blocks with other things. It's like, and it does wear its color gimmick very well, and doesn't forget itself. Like, it doesn't do the, oh hey, here's a new color. You know, let's forget about the old colors. Like a lesser design one of these would do. Um, it definitely keeps all the colors that you've acquired over the course of the game in mind. Let's see. And there is the requisite collectible, mysterious beakers, and they're handled in pretty standard collectible fashion. Like they're usually scattered in areas and levels that you might not be able to access first time through. Like, um, and yeah, it's just a solid um, puzzle platformer with a mildly interesting gimmick, and it puts all those elements together well enough. Now, in terms of pricing, so this game was, as of this recording, recently made available for. It was available for free on the Epic Games Store. It's not now. It was one of their free games of the week. It was also about $2-3 on the Steam store during the summer sale. All that has passed, so it's regular price, $14.99. It's got a soundtrack download, which is kind of expensive, $6.99. Soundtrack bundle is $19.34. Obviously, that's the one I would recommend. Now, if this game is worth $14.99, I gotta say no. Like it's also not a long game, or it's longer than some indie games, but it'll probably last you about 6 to 8 hours. Maybe a bit more if you go for all of the collectibles. Uh, it's like I'd say this game would be worth up to $10. Now it's not helping things that this game was available for much less recently. So my overall recommendation would be it's a fine game to pick up. Just wait for the next deep sale. All right then. So that'll about do it for Hugh here. Coming up after the break, Twilight Winter will be reviewing a game called Pamela.